Clicking that blue button.
Right. Happy Friday.
Hey, happy Friday. Yeah, I forgot it's Friday.
Friday.
Working
Every
so
day is
hard
Friday.
too.
Every day is Friday
Right.
for us.
I feel that.
Oh, Alexa's got it's Winter Music Conference here in Miami.
Oh
Why
my
she's got
gosh, stop. Don't tell me that.
why you got this music playing, girl?
No, it's part of me.
Part of you?
It's a part of my past.
Yeah.
So, dang.
If
Not
you're
gonna
in
be a part of
downtown,
this year though.
I'll tell you what, Cynthia, you should be happy you're not in downtown Miami. It's the biggest ultra festival that's been around for like 25 plus years. The whole city
Really?
is like hundreds of thousands of people.
Oh,
There's
wow.
day parties everywhere, afternoon parties.
I bet it's packed.
Yeah, President Trump is
Miami's
speaking at
fun.
Miami Beach today. So President Trump's in town talking to the Saudis at a conference.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Traveling faster.
There's a Mana. Was it Mana? What's the band? The Spanish band?
Oh, I know. Yes, my parents were gonna go, but
Yeah.
they're working the Palm Beach boat, whatever it's called, the boat.
Yeah, that's tonight and tomorrow, downtown
Yeah,
Miami.
they love that guy, that band.
What else do you guys want to know? What else do you want to know? What's happening in South Florida? We got you covered on
Where are you
everything.
going, Anish? That's what we want to know. Where can we find you?
He's in the house.
I am right here. I ain't going nowhere.
She's locked in, guys.
Locked in.
Next year.
Hey Esther, I saw some of our Next Million Mastermind people these last couple days.
Right, you had the mastermind. That was amazing.
Oh, yes.
Pretty fun stuff. Mr. Harry Diamond. We got some mentors on board.
Thanks for joining us, guys. The chat is going to stay open. We're going to just have a little chit chat, fireside chat. We are so excited for next week, our quarterly in-person networking event. You guys have to be there.
Yeah.
It's only once a quarter. So
Big meeting Wednesday. We have Cynthia popping in. You guys better all show up and tell Alexa I did a great job. She's gonna keep testing. She won't be there, so she's on baby patrol.
no.
Right.
Oh, so weird.
I have to. It's so funny, Alexa. Like, because I only see you from this up, like everybody else, you would never know you're pregnant. It's so crazy.
I know.
Until you stand up, then I'm like, whoa.
Stands up.
I know. And then you're
Oh,
like,
the basketball.
oh, wow. Oh gosh, didn't gain, 50 pounds or anything.
Lay off those desserts.
No, I'm super lucky. You guys know I'm a tall girl, so that is a huge blessing in this circumstance because your girl's got to get wedding ready this year as well. So we got to fit back into that wedding dress. So you guys know I won't be taking much breaks, but I will miss you guys on April, and the team is going to be they're going to absolutely kill it. It's going to be a great time. We have an amazing team that will be covering for me, and we have an amazing speaker. So there's really not much that I can do because you guys already got it. And I'm really grateful for that. So I want to welcome everyone for joining our webinar today. Thank you guys for hopping on in. We're so happy that you guys made it. And as you trickle on in, I'm going to just tell you some quick announcements here and let you guys know what's going on here at BPM RIA. But welcome. This is BPM RIA, Broward, Palm Beach, Miami-Dade Real Estate Investors Association, your only local and approved chapter here in South Florida that is in compliance and partnered with the National Real Estate Investors Association. My name is Alexa, COO here at BPM RIA. We have our CEO as well as the National RIA President, Anish here in the virtual building, along with Cynthia Trammell, our incredible speaker and featured educator for this month of April. We're having a little preview here. So glad you guys jumped on in so you know what you're getting yourselves into this month. But she is a multifamily investor and coach, and you guys are going to love her. We've had her in here for the past couple years, and there is a reason for that, because she's so in tune with the market, with multifamily, with the community. She's just incredible. So you guys are going to absolutely love her. But to get us started on a super positive note, we're going to be doing a raffle today. So we're going to raffle a membership today. So somebody's going to get paid just for attending today's class, and you'll be eligible for a free ticket for Wednesday for the networking event. So double win there. All you need to do to enter the raffle is text the word membership to 954-800-6961. Details are in the chat box, and details are also on your screen. So make sure you are looking at the screen or looking at the chat. Get that chat open. I'll be popping helpful things in the chat throughout our session today. So good luck, and I will announce the winner at the very end of the webinar today. Easy way to keep up with our events. We've been, reminding you guys about April 1st. We've been letting you guys know about all the workshops this month. We had 3 in-person workshops this month. We have webinars, we got networking, we have so many events. So easy way to keep up, go ahead and text BPM REIA, all one word, no spaces, to our event line. Once again, don't call this number here. This is just for event updates and raffles, 954-800-6961. You'll get opted into those text updates, and it is just so easy, convenient. Link in that text, and just super easy. I love it. So go ahead and do that. Details are in the chat for you guys. Our next online real estate investing boot camp, you guys, this is coming up on May 2nd and May 3rd. It's going to be all day, 2 full days on Zoom, cameras on, microphones on. So, and you guys, we just revamped this whole page for you guys just to make it extra cool and fun. So hopefully you can see that in the chat, the bpmquickstart.com website. It is looking really good right now. We're super grateful. So back to the training. 2 full days. We're going to learn wholesaling, flipping, rehabbing. We're going to have 4 incredible guest speakers on this training, all people in our power team. So I know you guys who are getting into real estate investing here in South Florida, you want to know who's your contractor, what title company do you use, what software are you guys using. You guys are going to get all of this in the 2-day boot camp. And plus, we put a money back guarantee on there for you guys, because we want to make this the safest, best training for you all. So definitely go check out the link in the chat, check out the screen, get those dates marked off in your calendar. And if you have not done the 2-day boot camp, you absolutely need to. It is just the most awesome thing we provide in like the quickest time frame. So you guys will definitely want to get into that.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, so you guys know, remember, it's a money back guarantee. So there is no reason why you shouldn't be there. I see a lot of you guys put yes. So again, we have people from all around the country on these quick starts, and you'll be at home with cameras on. So no South Florida traffic for you guys. No excuses.
Absolutely. Yeah, you guys, and you'd be surprised what we can get done in a 2 full day training. You're going to be 8 hours per day with Anish. So just imagine, that is going to be a big one. So we'll see you guys there. Want to spend the weekend with you. Members, you guys get special pricing for all of these things, the boot camps, the workshops, all of the things. You get in free for our networking event that's taking place next week on Wednesday, April 1st at Nova Southeastern University. You can bring guests for only $10. And you guys get an amazing benefit package, tons of discounts and benefits through our partnership with the National RIA. So make sure you get your membership today, not next week, so you guys can get in free for that networking event, and you can get discounted workshop tickets for Cynthia's workshop as well. So we'll see you guys next week. Go get your memberships, get renewed before April 1st, because You got to give us like 24 hours to get that thing going for you. So just a heads up. Mentoring and coaching here at BPM RIA. This is the last but very not least offer that I will be giving you guys. Guys, we offer one-on-one coaching here at BPM RIA. I'm not sure if you know about it, but if you don't know about it, you need to book a call. We put up 100% of the money for our students' deals. We split the profit 50-50, and you get matched with your own personal mentor. This is the best program in the country, if you ask me. And we also provide you with all the things you need to start doing deals right now, meaning the software, the education, the everything, the funding. You are totally covered. So we want to get you guys successful doing deals right now. Go book your discovery call on our website, scan that QR code, go check the link in the chat, go to this website here. Like, guys, we make it easy for you. So go get connected and book that call, and we can get you all the details on our coaching programs that we offer. And if you're interested in the third-party funding, we have that available. Go ahead and scan that QR code on the screen. This is going to be a soft credit pull. You get 0% interest rate and a response within 24 hours. If you'd like to fund your education, that is there for you. And I'll just go ahead and pop that link in the chat because a lot of people have been asking me about the third-party funding options that we have. So thank you guys always for letting me inform you on what's going on here at BPM RIA. I always want to take a moment to thank the National RIA for everything they provide, all of the resources. You guys got to check out their website and see, what you can learn. There's so much to learn and get involved with, when it comes to voter voice, education, everything like that. And I always want to remind you guys that we record these sessions. We post them on our YouTube channel. So make sure you get subscribed and give this replay. If you're watching the replay, give it a big thumbs up and make sure you share this with anyone who needs it. We are at youtube.com/BPM REIA. So get connected with that and follow us on social medias. We are super active online on social media. You guys, please follow us, engage with us. We want to be, in the loop with everything you guys got going on too, not just us. So we're here to support you guys in all of your endeavors in real estate investing as well. So with that being said, please guys, if you have questions, go ahead and put those in the Q&A box. We have a Q&A box. It's in the Zoom menu. We'll also be chatting with you guys in the chat box. So feel free to chat with our hosts here. And our hosts, be sure that you are messaging everyone, not just the hosts and the panelists in the chat box too. So we can all see what you guys are talking about. So
great. Thank you, Alexa. And so I do see some new names on here. So as Alexa said, I am president of National RIA. That's over 40,000 members, 120 chapters and affiliates. And yes, I work for you guys. So we're doing some massive changes at National RIA for the better. So I'm excited about that. Obviously, the president of BPM RIA. I've been in real estate for, 25 plus years. Flipped a lot of houses, lost a lot of money, made some money, and all the above, right? And BPM RIA is the only approved chapter here of National RIA in South Florida. I'm also a licensed mortgage guy, a licensed realtor. I've done creative financing. I've done all sorts of deals out there. And so, some of you guys, this might be your first webinar with us. So go ahead and put in the chat, where are you guys listening in from? So I do see a lot of familiar faces. I see all sorts of new faces. So where are you guys listening in is number one. And before I introduce Cynthia and let Cynthia give her background, you know how these fireside chats work, right? If you guys have been watching some of our fireside chats, there are no rules. So our guests have no idea what I'm going to ask them. I'm not even sure what I'm going to ask them yet. And we just, we go with the flow. So if there's, questions that you want to, ask, let us know. This is really going behind the scenes, behind the curtains, and it's not a bunch of rah-rah stuff. Okay, I see some people from Plantation, Miramar. Cynthia's in Texas. So my guest, I'm going to start with, I've been fortunate to be friends with Cynthia. I think we're on 3 years now. Am I
Mm-hmm.
somewhere around there?
Yeah. Okay.
And the way I met Cynthia was some of you guys have been coming to our turning point with Marshall Silver. Again, we have that happening next month, April 14th to the 16th. And I went to one of these Marshall Silver events, and I'm in his inner circle. And we were out in Vegas, and it was called The Next Level. There was about, I don't know, maybe 40, 50 people at the event. And automatically I gravitated towards Cynthia and our other dear friend Emily. We were like a mini crew within the crew. And I have to tell you, I laughed my butt off. It was just like we had so much fun. And I was so like excited, once I really knowing Cynthia what she did. So I'm gonna hand it off to Cynthia. If you want to give him your background before we get started.
Sure. Thanks, Anish. Yes, so I am Cynthia Trammell, and I am a multifamily real estate investor and coach. I started in this about 10 years ago into multifamily. And one of the things that I gravitated in multifamily was to small properties. Many multifamily investors, they do large syndications, they like 100 doors and bigger. My partner and I, we really love the small deals. So when I thought, how can I start giving back? And I wanted to start my coaching program, that's where I wanted to focus on. I came from a background of being a music director in a church. So I was making pretty close to minimum wage. I was working a lot.
What, really? They weren't paying you much?
I know. There's a lot of perks for working for the Lord. I will say that. Just money is not one of them. But I was a single mom to triplet boys, my sweet angels that are up here. You can see them in my picture. I need a new picture, but and I knew I wanted more. I just knew in my gut I was destined for more. I just didn't know what that more looked like or what it was. So through taking some chances, that's how I got into multifamily, started with a commercial property. And now I teach others how to get into multifamily without it being really intimidating with these 100 units and 150 units where you're in these big syndications with hundreds of people and you're kind of the small man on the totem pole. I'm going to teach you how to be the big man or the big woman on the totem pole. So that's where my coaching program, Ignite RE Wealth, has gotten started.
Absolutely. And so like, let's talk about, about your first property. Because I love this story of how, because you had so much real estate experience, from the church, right?
Yeah, right? That's what's so crazy. I am being living paycheck to paycheck and being a single parent. I mean, like the weight of the world is on your shoulders, right? And so that's when my husband, now my boyfriend, then he was one of his offices was out in this building, this commercial building. It's about 8,000 square feet. And the owner came and said, I'm going to sell this property and you need to lock in on your lease. Well, he came home and told me because he's all about, oh, real estate's the way, real estate's the way. And I'm like, I don't know anything about real estate. But that weird feeling in my gut that we were talking about? It said, you should call him. And my brain went, that's a stupid idea, And so I ended up calling him. He took a liking to me. I used some of the mentors that I had in the church and ended up getting a meeting with the bank president. Now, I have to go and talk to the bank president about all my real estate knowledge. And again, my gut's going, you got this. Fake it till you make it, and my brain's going, what are you going to say? So I went out and bought commercial real estate for dummies and read that the night before. I didn't know what a NOI was. I didn't know what cash flow was. I didn't know any of that. I mean, I was a music director. So in 45 days, though, I had keys to that building. But Anish, I don't even think you know. I mean, I think I told you that I might be going under contract.
Yeah.
So I am actually under contract. I bought that property for $680,000. I am
In
under
Texas.
contract for $1.2 million.
Wow.
Closing in 2 weeks. Now we don't celebrate till we close.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. That's
Bubbles
awesome.
are in
Drinks
motion.
are on you. Dinner's on you now.
That's right. That's right. And
Well,
one of the things that we do in our small multifamily is you get into it and you refi. So
yeah.
like 5 years ago, I refied and pulled out like $150,000
Yeah.
tax free.
Yep.
So not only am I getting this big ending, I got that. So that's when I got bit by the real estate bug. and the rest is
Yeah,
history.
and you know, it was really interesting. You said you met with the bank president, so I'm assuming it wasn't Bank of America you went to, obviously, right? You went to your you didn't fly out to North Carolina and see
No, yeah,
Ken.
no.
So you want to talk
This was
about
the
what that?
president of a local bank. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's probably regional. Was it a couple
Yes.
branches or and
Branches,
how
yeah.
easy, right? Like, here's the question. So let's kind of follow through this. Her husband now, right? They want to sell the building and lock in your lease. He tells you about this.
Yeah.
You have zero real estate experience. You used your connections from the church
Yep.
of some people that had real estate experience. Did the seller know, like, were you, I know you said fake it till you make it. Were you honest with them and said, I have no real estate experience? Or what did you
I
actually,
was.
okay, got
I
it.
was. I mean, I had enough sort of business sense. And this is something I talk about. We act like real estate is so foreign to us,
Yeah,
but really we possess like 70% of the skills to already get it done. Every
yeah,
day we're budgeting our home, we're problem solving daily, we're doing all the things you need to do. You're just changing the vehicle a little bit. So I kind of knew income had to be higher than expenses, right? I'm just like, isn't that what we do in our life? Like don't spend more than you make. So
right.
yeah, so I was pretty honest with him to just now, I didn't play just like total dumb, but I was very honest to just say I don't own any other real estate property, but I'm very interested in this.
Yeah. So
And
what's important, you just framed it different. And what I think that's also really important is, and we'll talk about this too, is the relationship building versus, the fear. So how many of you guys put in the chat? You guys have been afraid to make a call to a broker or a seller or any of that. Put in the chat if that's you because you don't know enough, right? So again, you had all that doubt. You
yes,
called them up
that
and said,
call, scariest call I've ever made. I mean, literally, like water was pouring from my lips. I was nervous. I was scared. I was afraid I might ask the wrong thing. So I actually like wrote down the questions. We didn't have ChatGPT 10 years ago, so you had to come up with your own questions. So I wrote down like what might he ask me?
right,
If just knowing what did I want to know and what might he ask me, and I really tried to think through those scenarios so I
yep.
would be prepared and have a response.
Yeah, and again, that makes a big difference. I see some of you guys are saying, "Yeah, that's me," right? And it's funny, like if we, when this closes, not if, when it closes, and with your money coming out, and I know you've been making money you've had it for 10 years. How long have you had this? 10, right? So you were making money also. If I'm doing the math right, give or take, that literally was a $1 million call if you really think about
Mm,
it, right? Like you could have
absolutely.
easily, we talk about the analysis paralysis end of it. Again, we'll have Marshall Silver. Some of you guys have been to a turning point. Some of you guys were on the call last time, and he talks about non-confronts. And what do I mean by non-confronts? You know you got to do something and you don't, right? So Cynthia, you had 1,000 reasons why not to call him
Very
is an
much so.
understatement, right? So now
Very much
we go from, okay, you have the call. He's interested. Obviously, you as a person is unbelievably sweet and thoughtful, just your demeanor. And so now it looks like it's a go, right? He had a price.
yeah.
Did you negotiate the price, or was he stuck on a number, or how did that
You
go?
know, we see, I didn't know you're supposed to negotiate. I just thought somebody tells you how much it is, you go, I can buy it or I can't, right? It's like buying a pair of shoes in the store. So I do remember though, I felt like he was negotiating with me to get me to come down lower. I think he was trying to help me actually. But
Wow.
he bottom line told me, he said, I need to get X amount out of the building. So we did drop it just a little bit. But
Okay.
here's the part that really helped me, and you mentioned it, Anish, using your networking. Networking is so important because I did have people in the church. Some were very big into single family, some were very big into commercial, not a lot of multifamily, but so I went to both of these gentlemen to say, what do you think? Now, my guy who all he does is single family was nervous about the commercial. He's like,
Right.
this,
It's on his bread and
it's
butter.
not
So
his right, right. But I listened because he still had really good advice. And the guy that was in commercial who actually got me this meeting with the bank president, he sat down and looked at the numbers with me. He went out to the building with me. He
Oh,
verified
wow.
everything. You know, he
Okay.
went out there and met with the owner to ask questions too. So having people that mentor you, that help coach you, it's essential to your success, especially when you're new. It's essential.
Yeah, and I think that's just really important too, is especially like the way everything has changed. And I know you touched on like ChatGPT or the AI. And again, anyone that knows me, we use a ton on our 2-day quick start. We actually go over how we use it. And at the same time, it's not going to get you the deal done. It's a good, plus on maybe analysis. And at the end of the day, you still have to talk to the person. It's still a human to human closing the deals because this property wasn't
Correct.
listed, right? This property wasn't listed at all, right? This was
Oh
just
no.
simply
Mm-mm.
because Matt, her husband, said, I got to lock this in on that. Yeah. So like, okay, right. So that's super important. Then she had someone go out there, as a mentor, ask those deals. And then how did you get I think you mentioned, was it someone from the church that got you to the president of the bank, or how did
Yes.
that meeting go? Like, how did you
Same.
get that?
I was scared to death. It went really well, and that guy was in there, and then he had a consultant in there. But I'm gonna tell you what this consultant said to me. I teach it now because it was such great words of wisdoms. And he told me, he said, when you close on this, when this closes, that first night, you will not sleep a wink. You're going to wake up and you're going to have buyer's remorse. You're going to think, what did I just do? Because all that fear is going to well up in you. But he said, I'm going to
Yeah,
give you this piece of advice. Numbers don't lie. He said,
yeah,
your numbers are good. This building is good. The numbers are good and they don't lie. So, all that emotion, he says, you just have to let it go because numbers don't lie. That's what you have to trust when you're in real estate. And I've
yeah.
carried that since then. Do
What's
not get
amazing?
emotional.
I'm laughing because I remember my first real estate deal. It was like a single family little wholesale deal. Your first deal was a friggin' strip mall commercial building with no experience whatsoever, and I had all this
Yep.
experience. And even when you told me that, I was like, oh my gosh, this woman is fearless. Is an understatement, right? And the important thing is, like you could see Cynthia on the back end. You might have proved that you're fearless, which I agree. And on the back end, there's all this doubt on that end of it. I'm very fortunate to know Matt, her husband, very supportive. And I think some of the challenges that happens, especially in the entrepreneur world, is if you don't have that support, and sometimes it's the closest people in your life that say, "What are you doing? I can't understand it." And like for me, it was my dad and mom to an extent, and they were W-2 people. It's not their fault. So for them, it's scary for you. So were there any people besides, in your inner circle of people that said, "Hey, you're crazy. What are you doing?"
Oh, absolutely. Oh, hey, I always love it when you talk to your friends about what do you do? Oh, I'm a real estate investor and think, oh, cool. I've always wanted to be a realtor too. And I'm like, I'm not a realtor. You know, but and I don't fault them because
Yeah,
they I was in the same mindset. I didn't know that somebody who was a music director at a church could own a building that people put businesses in or people live in that, for multifamily. I didn't know just like normal people own those. I thought that was for the wealthy, the elite, the people that lived way up above my means.
yeah,
So it's a mindset and it's changing your identity because I had to fight through those things too. And yeah, and I mean even family members were just like, yeah, I don't know what you're doing, but
yeah.
good
And
luck.
I'm gonna, because I know this story. Like I know there's also the church. I mean, you want to share what? Well, I'm just
Yeah.
gonna ask you, do you want to share? Will you share what was said to you?
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. Because once that little gut feeling got fed, that I know this is it. Because when you get into multifamily or when you get into real estate and even single family, you know that feeling when that first check comes in or that passive income, which are my, two favorite words. When that passive income comes in and you've worked very little to get it, all of a sudden you're like, this is cool. This is really cool. And I
Yeah.
knew in my gut this could grow. It was scalable, it was attainable. I'm like, man, if I could get one, I could get
Yeah.
10. And that's when I went into my church and said, I'm going to go do this. And my pastor looked right at me in the eye and just went, you will fail. And he's just like, you're selfish to even think about doing this. As a
Yeah.
single
Can
mom of
you?
those poor little boys, those poor kids. And yeah, I told him to stick it. So
Yeah.
in a nice
I
way.
think that's the meanest thing I've ever heard you say, but that's funny. Like, and
I
I know that,
know.
right?
Yeah, but it's
Uh,
it's yeah, some people were kind of mean about, well, and it was all about him, right? He didn't want me to leave, but
yeah, of course.
they don't understand what it is. And when people don't understand what you're doing, they sit in judgment on it, right? They're
Yep.
gonna poo poo all over it and be like, oh, that's a stupid idea, and why are you ever thinking about doing that? And I would just say, you can be friends with those people. Do not put them in your circle, especially if you're just getting started or you're wanting to do multifamily. Get those
Yep.
people out of your circle. Those are not
That's,
the people you need in your ear. There's enough fear in calling brokers and putting in offers for $2 and $3 million buildings. There's enough that you go through with all that. Only people you need on your team are going, you got this, go get it. You know, you're
yep.
you're achieving your dream.
What about, the question comes, obviously, the bank didn't do 100% loan, right, on multifamily, so, or commercial. So you want to kind
Yeah.
of talk about what the parameters are generally? How much would you need on acquisition from what you've seen on whether it's multifamily or even this property that you
Right.
bought?
For that property, now, mind you, this was 10 years ago. I was able to just put down like 20%,
Yeah,
which was a different day and
130
age. Even
grand.
in multifamily, when we started investing, it was, an 80% LTV, which means that we were putting down 20%. And then we saw it change to 75, 25%. And right now we're sitting about 65,
Yeah,
65 loan to value that most banks are doing. And that's okay. You just have to know you've got to raise more money up front. But you're going to build equity faster because you've got so much of your own money in there. You're not relying on the bank.
yeah, and some of the things that you touched on, right? So I know some of our listeners might not know what syndication means, or
Yeah.
like I know sometimes we use some fancy words.
Yeah.
When you're new, they're like saying, "Hey, what, Anish, what, Cynthia, what are you guys talking about? What language are you speaking?" So let's talk about what you consider small, right? So
Okay.
just so you guys know, multifamily is what for lending, 1 to 4 units is considered residential, just so you know, right? So we've done things where you could house hack, live in one, rent out the other ones. Great way to get into real estate. So what we're talking about is not the 1 to 4 units. We're talking higher. So let's talk about what you consider small,
We focus
multifamilies.
on 5 to 50. We focus because really, once you get over 50, you almost have to syndicate. And so when I say syndicate, I mean now we need to find multiple investors where there's a team of GPs. And if you really want to know about all this, you got to come next Wednesday. I'm coming to Florida
And,
and I'm going to be teaching
and
about some of
Saturday,
this.
and the following week,
And
Saturday,
yeah, on the
full days.
11th. Yeah. So, but yeah, well, what were you talking about this next Wednesday? That what we focus on is doing partnerships or joint ventures. So partnerships and joint ventures, that means we are raising the money within us. So we get investors that we don't have to syndicate, which means we're not under the SEC rules. It's just partnershiping, joint ventures. Once you get into syndications, means that you have passive investors. Passive investors come in, you're promising them a return, and once you do that, it becomes a securities. And those passive investors, it's like if Anish says, "Hey, I got a deal, come on in on it." And he says, "Got 50,000." I bring 50,000. I go home and just collect checks. I don't have a vote. I don't have a say in the way Anish runs that
Yeah,
property. That's a syndication. Where
yeah,
a
and
joint venture
that's like a
partnership,
limit.
everybody gets to have a say.
Yeah, like that's a limited partnership where literally, again, there's funds out there that you could do, whether it's crowdfunding, there's all different things out there. And exactly what Cynthia's saying is if I want to paint it, pink, Cynthia says, "What are you doing? You're crazy." And I just don't answer her phone call, meaning she's got
Right.
no say on what I do, right? So you're really trusting the operator, which is the person that's putting it together. And I can't wait till Wednesday. Is you dumbed it down. You made it a niche proof where I can even understand it. It was so easy with the exercise that you did between syndication
Yeah.
and joint venture agreements or partnerships. And again, they're not. It's not good or bad. So like, I don't want you to think
No,
that syndication is good or bad. And at the same
we need
time, there's some.
syndications.
Yeah, there's some.
You gotta have syndications.
There's some, if some of you guys may have invested in a syndication, I have. I've invested in stuff that's one's going belly up, and it sucks, is the easiest way I could say it. There's a couple in Texas. So Cynthia's out in Texas, by the way. And there were some syndications, some big ones that went under. What I forgot what his name was, but and there was some
Oh,
fraud. It was a couple hundred million. The
he
guy
just went to
just
jail.
yeah. Oh, did you get
He
him?
just
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. He pled guilty
Okay.
and he's going to jail. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is there's stuff out there, right? And just be careful. And again, not all syndications are bad. It's just a different end of what you want to be in real estate versus the joint venture end of it. So is it because of the dollar amount that you stay at around 50? And then what areas are you guys buying in? Because here in Florida, the numbers are a little bit different. So where are
Oh
you
yeah.
guys buying, number one?
We used to love to buy in Florida. We used to love to look at Florida, but it's the same with some of the other states that insurance and property taxes have just gone skyrocketing. But yeah, we love to be sort of in the South, Midwest. So we're
Hmm.
currently in like Texas, Oklahoma, Mississippi, Arizona. That's where we are. We'd love to be in Alabama. But yeah, the 50 units is because once you sort of get over that, you're going to have to syndicate unless you just
Oh,
find an investor that's like, yeah, I've got $1 million I'd love to bring in. Most
yeah,
investors want to bring in 100, 200, 250. So it's easier to raise money for these small deals. Yeah, once it gets over that 2.5, 3 million mark, you're going to
yeah.
have to
And
syndicate.
and and actually, like, because I know you're saying, like, when I hear Texas when I first started, oh, she must be buying in Dallas and
Oh,
Fort
no.
Worth. So like, yeah, so
No.
I want to talk about, primary markets, tertiary markets. What does that really mean?
One of
Because
the
that's what,
things with I always like in my coaching, I'll tell you what those path of progresses are. What are those primary markets? What are those markets that are really, really growing and thriving? And then we go away from them. I know
yeah,
that doesn't make any sense, but what we do because they're too overinflated. It's
yeah,
like buying in Miami. It's just Miami is a growing city. I mean, the statistics show that it is growing substantially, but you're not going to be buying in Miami. It's just way
yeah,
too overinflated. The returns would be terrible. So what we do, people say, "Oh, Dallas Fort Worth, best place to buy." Texas is a great state to buy in. We will not be there. We're going to be 100 miles outside of there. We're going to be in a secondary market. We're going to be in a tertiary market, which means
yeah,
the third ring of Dante's. I mean, we're way out there. We're in a town with 3,500 people, and that property is killing it, but it's
wow,
outside of a large city. You
yeah,
never, but again, when you're talking about a 20 unit or a 30 unit in a town of 30,000 people, that makes sense. But you would never buy 150 units in a town of 35,000 people because now you're the market, you've got to have more people to fill that 150 unit up. So doing these small deals and these little towns,
yeah.
everyone needs a place to live.
I,
Everybody
I,
needs a place to
I
live.
think that what's also interesting is that, if you want to get into the really big numbers like that, and in big cities, now you're really dealing with institutional money.
Very
which
much
is
so.
which is a different way. And it's the Blackstones and like these
The
guys coming,
REITs.
yeah, the REITs, like they have their business model is just too different. And what I like, if I'm correct on this, what the market you're going after is too small for them, right? They're not going after a 20 or 30. or they don't get out of bed unless it's XYZ, right?
Nobody's looking at these. Nobody's looking at this.
Yeah.
And for beginners, really these small properties are the place to start because in these large syndications, which I'm going to show next week, when you're new, you're going to be at the bottom of the food chain. They're going to
Yeah.
give you like 10% of a 30% part of the deal. So when they start splitting up all that money, you might walk away with like 200, 200 bucks a month.
Yeah.
And now, granted, you do get experience, you do get to build your network, all of that, but you're in these for 5 years, 10
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
And
And if everything works
it's
out,
tough.
right? I mean, there's a lot of assumptions, and I thought it was really interesting. I have one of our old students. They're in the multifamily space. They raised a lot of money, and exactly what you're talking about. They bought a building in North Miami Beach. It was like 20, 25, 30 units, somewhere around there. I'm not sure the exact. And it was value add. And actually, we should talk about what value add means. And they did all that stuff. They were going to refinance it, and the insurance went from 16,000 to 82,000 bucks. It no longer cash flowed, right? So now I'm not even sure if he sold it or not. So they're looking for a buyer that wants a trophy property, saying, "Oh, it's North Miami Beach,"
Right.
right? So we do have those people. It just doesn't cash flow in the beginning, and you're betting on appreciation. That's a different kind of risk level. It's not predictable. And again, I'm not saying yeah, people that bought 20, 30 years ago and they bought in Miami Beach, yeah, they're unbelievably happy, right? On what's happening. Or if you bought commercial property on Lincoln Road, and for us on Miami Beach, there's a lot of that's the retail space, which is a whole different world. So well, yeah, let's actually talk about that. Why do you like multifamily versus maybe retail? Even though I know what your first deal was indirectly not multifamily, why do you
Right.
generally move towards multifamily versus the other commercial stuff out there?
I just love that there you can put so many doors under one roof. You got more doors under one roof, and then it scales, it stacks, you can refinance it and
Yep,
pull out money that's tax free. I mean, there's so many more advantages with depreciation and the things you can do with multifamily. You get a couple in the same area, then you get one property manager to run all of it. It's
yep.
just so many great advantages to it. There really are.
Yeah, so it's funny that you talked to the property manager. Let's talk about that. So, how many units do you guys have right now, you and your partners, is number one, and how many, and I bet you property manage all of them yourself. No,
Dream, right? No, I don't want to work that hard.
no, I'm kidding. That's why I'm laughing. Like, so yeah,
I
so what
know.
does that look like on and like on the property management side, and how many units would you say is the number that like okay, if I have an 8 unit building, I may or may not property manage it. I had a 5 unit building that was fine. It wasn't a big deal. It was like down the street, so that was okay with
That
me.
would be different.
But like, what number or what do you feel on the property
I
management?
personally would encourage do not ever property manage your own stuff. Allow underwrite in a property manager and let them do what they do best. And you do what you do best. And under 50 units, that's why we like that because usually under 50 units, you don't have to have a
On site?
employee on site,
Yeah.
right? So you might pay a little more with your property management company, but you're not having to put employees on site. And versus you get a little larger than that, you're going to have to hire somebody to be there. Now you got payroll and things go up. So yeah, and because and I know especially when you're new and like my students, several of them are in Florida, and thinking of buying outside of Florida is it has to stretch the mind out a little bit because it's like we want to buy in our backyards. But if your backyard's not really good, it means you got to go find someone else's backyard to go buy in. But there are ways to do that. And that's what you want to do. You want to find those cities in the states that really support these small multifamily properties where you can get the best cash flow, where it's been run by a mom and pop, where it hasn't been those value adds we were talking about. Rent hasn't been increased. They don't have pet rents in place. They're not charging late fees or their application fees are low. There's so many ways to add value add by doing a micro renovation so you can really increase those rents. Finding those properties that haven't been flipped over like that, that's where you want to go to. But it's risky though to think about. But I live in
Yeah.
Florida. I want to buy in Florida. But Florida's not a great state to buy in right now because of those expenses. And I want to talk about what you were talking about earlier. That's why the market right now is resetting. Because in 2020, everybody was buying these deals, 3% interest rates, 4%
Hmm.
interest rates, and they got in, and then insurance rates tripled just out of the blue after COVID. Insurance rates, we had some hurricanes, we've had some tornadoes, we've had all these crazy things. And insurance said, yeah, we're just going to triple, double, quadruple your insurance payments. And everybody's ending up upside down. So when you're in a syndication and you can't pay your investors, what happens? Well, your investors are unhappy. You're trying to rob Peter to pay Paul now. You're using some of your CapEx money to come in and try to make distributions. And it just starts to go south. So they're only left with selling.
Yeah,
Your only choice. You just have to
makes
sell.
sense. Hey guys, are you guys loving what Cynthia right now? Give her some love in the chat because
Oh,
otherwise it's just you and I. I know a lot of you guys are listening in. If there's anything
yay.
that
Thanks.
you guys have to, feel free. If there's any questions, just put them in the Q&A that I could ask Cynthia from experience
Love
level
questions.
to anything else out there. So thanks, Harry.
Thanks,
See Harry's in
Harry.
there.
Can't wait to
So,
see you next week, Harry.
my question is, how many guys actually have done a multifamily deal? Put in the chat. Or is it all new for you guys, right? Kind of curious to see where you guys are at. See if you guys are alive. Is number one, right? I know it's Friday, and it's funny because for you guys, like I know I usually don't do anything on Friday. It's just I said, what the heck? We're always trying to change out. When our webinars are, and yeah, Marshall Silver, our mentors for Cynthia and I see Carl Shuley on here, is that what I always like what he always says is throw noodles on the wall. Sometimes they stick,
Yep.
sometimes they don't, right? So yep, Michelle, I know you own one in Ohio, one of our students. Okay, yep, okay.
I just left Carl. We were out with Marshall this week, actually.
Yeah, you got some time
I am
in.
so excited for Turning Point in a few weeks.
Me too. And Carl's actually our contractor, our longest standing member. It took me years to not call him the oldest member. I know he always reminds me the longest standing member with BPM Ria and Bria. So we always love him. He does all our rehabs with us. And so going back to the multifamily. So I know on Wednesday you're going to talk about the all day Saturday workshop. I know you're
Mhm.
going to talk about how you really get these deals before anyone else. So you're going to have to definitely show up for both events because no matter, I might ask her something here and it's just going to glaze over. I'm like, huh, I didn't even get that. So you're going to have to show up on the Wednesday and Saturday.
I give you
So
little tricks.
it's a lot of cool tricks. I have to tell you, like, it was funny. I was fortunate enough to see Cynthia's presentation on the cruise, the National Rio cruise. And I was like, man, I should be doing this. Like, you really excited and saying, man, I'm tripping over dollars to pick up pennies. And I think I'm going to use it in my arsenal now too, of what you're doing because I think it's powerful. And I do love the passive income and watching it build. So, what would you say are a few hiccups, or for newbies, what should they look out for? Like, what are some of the things that might run into a challenge when you're not in the industry or new to the
I
industry?
think the first thing that people always say is, I just don't have any money. I
Yeah,
don't have any money to do this. How do I find money? And I'll tell you all know this is part of my thing. I have portfolio over $22 million, and I've put zero money of my own in. Zero.
yeah. You guys hear that?
So zero.
Fix your recording. Yep.
Did she say
Did-
zero?
How many zeros? No, she just said zero.
But my first property, it was, I laugh. We got it for $580,000, and we had to make a stupid offer on it because they wanted more for it. We were like, we're not gonna give you that. We made a stupid offer. They took it. I went under contract on that. It was my first multifamily property. I had to raise $250,000. You might as well have said you have to raise $2 million because I was like, $250,000. Are you kidding
Yeah.
me? Like, who has that kind of money? Like, where am I going to find that money? But once you're in the industry, you know that money is a drop in the hat for a lot of people, which still kind of blows my mind that people sit around. You have it in your 401ks. People have IRAs that have it in there. Some people are just liquid like that, or they need a place to put their money to protect them from tax. It's a tax
Yeah.
strategy. So when you start getting out into this world, you'll be like, wow, 200,000 is not that much money.
Yeah.
But so so those hiccups, and I would say it's the mindset. You have to change your identity to do it. You've got to put in the time. If you don't put any offers in, you'll never get a multifamily. And
Yeah.
the only way to put in offers in is you've got to take the time to underwrite and call brokers and find deals.
Agreed. And what's really important, like what we've done now on the BPM side, even with the quick start, is we've added a lot more mindset. So by the way, I do love that your little sign behind your head says
Oh,
mindset.
yeah. You see my little mindset? I know. Sit around and says, if you want it, work for it.
I love it. And so, one of the things that, and again, we are bringing the turning point. We have Marshall flying in April 14th to the 16th. You're going to want to go. I know some of you guys are W-2. I'm going to tell you it's worth the PTO, the 2.5 days. Like you're going to want to show up because if it's not now, when's it going to be? And what I like about what the turning point did for me and the advanced trading is to get rid of those limiting beliefs. So, the one that you just touched on is I don't have any money, right? So that's a limiting belief. Some of the other ones that we talk about, oh, the market's too hot. That's a limiting belief. The market's too cold. It's a limiting belief. The interest rates are, too high. They're too low. We're at war. We're at, those are all different limiting beliefs that we create. And, one of the things is when you don't think you deserve it, you're not going to get it. That I'm sure. So we got to fix this stuff up here first, and then we could get to the next level of whatever you want. Again, these are some of the things that Marshall will share is even small commitments lead to big ones. Picking up the phone call to talk to a broker. So I know some best practices. I know you were talking about this. And again, I know Cynthia very well. And listen, I love VAs. I love all the automation. And I know some of you guys want to delegate. You don't want your VA to call these experienced brokers.
No. We had a, can I share my story with them? So
Yeah.
there's a broker that I use here in Texas that we bought a couple of deals with. And he reached out to me. He's like, hey, do you have a VA working for you? And I said, oh, yeah, we do. He reaches out. He goes, well, he's been calling me and I'm getting these texts and it's all automated. And he said, I thought somebody was scamming your company. I thought somebody had taken over your company. But he's like, tell him to stop. Don't do that to me. He's like, that's a sign that it's wholesalers or cold calls or fishing for stuff. And he says, tell him to stop. He goes, I don't want to be cold called. I want relationships. And I
Yeah,
was
and,
like,
and it's important because
shoot.
even for me, I get calls. I know, the VAs, and again, we use VAs too, so it's not knocking
Right.
the VAs and not really on outreach. Right. So what I mean by that is I don't want them calling prospective clients. I mean, I get it all the time. People trying to sell me, and I know it's a VA. Hey, Anish, what's your buyer's box? It's a VA reading this. And I'm like, I don't have the time for this. Thank you. And take me off your list. So, the question becomes, right, is making that call or building that relationship, is it worth $1 million? Give me a yeah, buddy, if it's worth $1 million in the chat to
Yeah,
go out
buddy,
there and
right?
do that.
It is. And
Yeah.
this broker that we bought two properties with, I met him when I was first getting started, and he had just started his own brokerage firm with his brother. And we met for lunch, and he told me, I can't remember what the car is. He drove some like 67 green Pontiac thing. I forgive me those cars. I don't know cars, but I had to go look it up. And I found a t-shirt with that car on it, and I sent it to him. And he always remembered that. We didn't do a deal for 2 years. But when he
Wow.
moved to a different brokerage firm, he called me and he was just like, I always remember you gave me that shirt.
Wow.
And he remembered you because you remembered my story. And we built up a relationship. And then he started sending deals. And you have to cultivate that. Even the person who, the broker that helped me find a buyer for my commercial property, it came out of the blue. This broker I use for multifamily, and he and I have been trying to do a deal for probably 5 years. And it just hasn't worked out. And we built up a relationship, and we talk about kids, and all of that. But then this deal, he just had a buyer, kind of came to me, and it worked out. But we've been cultivating that for like 5 years. So building relationships, that's how you get off market deals, putting offers in. That's how you get true off market deals. You have to invest in these brokers. That's it.
Absolutely. I'm going to kind of change the topic a little bit because I can.
It's your
Hey,
fireside.
by the way, here's the great part. When you own the company, you can do whatever you want.
You can do whatever you want.
So, and it's funny because and listen, I love business, all the stuff out there, building a business, building companies, doing deals. And what's also really important is your personal life. So don't worry, I'm not going to ask you too many personal questions. I know. Guys, she's already taken. Sorry, she's married already. No,
That's right.
so so how do you balance? Let's talk about it because obviously she had three, or she has, that's not had, she has three triplets. They're all at Baylor University. They're all in college. And like how do you balance, like you want to talk about, because I know some of the stuff you do for fun, playing tennis, and how do you balance everything that you got going on and have and be mom, right? Like there's an added layer that I'm not gonna be mom to anyone like that. You have also being a woman in a more male dominated industry.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like if you want to touch on what that feels like, because usually the commercial world is male dominated.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
yeah,
it's pretty much all male dominated. There's I mean just a small percentage of women investors, and I've spoken on quite a few women's panels about it. But I tell you, my experiences have been different from some other women. I really have not had a lot of negative feedback from being in a male dominated world with this. I mean, my whole life I've been in male dominated worlds, but I think one of the reasons is I know my stuff. I know my numbers. I'm easy to get along with. I don't have a chip on my shoulder. I go in willing to listen and willing to stand up for what I also know is true. And I think the fact that I call it being a chameleon sometimes. I always teach women, we use like 5 times more words than men. So if I'm going in and having a meeting with a man, I really want to control how many words I use. I want to get to the point. A lot of men like bullet points, so I try to speak in that language. It's but but I feel like I'm well respected in the industry because of that, because I know what I'm talking about. So if you know, and I bring value to the table. So I've had some really good experiences. I mean, I've met a couple of guys that are, a couple of brokers that were probably not the nicest to me. Do I think it was because of woman? I don't know. They may just have been not really
yeah,
cool guys.
yeah,
They may just have been jerk brokers. I don't know. They may treat everybody like that. I never take it personally that it's because I'm a woman. I just and the great thing about when you have your own business and you're looking, I don't have to use those brokers. There's a
correct.
million more brokers to deal with. So, and in balance, that's the great thing about passive income. I can do what I want. And I think balance is it's a definition that's hard to strive for. I
Yeah,
think you have to live in the season that you're in. And I know I shared with the group that I spoke to last week that my brother-in-law passed away a week ago. And we kind of weren't expecting that. So
yeah,
you have to live in the life that it's been given to you at that moment. I took the week off.
yeah,
Did everything keep running as planned? Absolutely, because it's passive. It requires very little attention from me. I mean, if an emergency comes up, I can take care of it, but I can also step away from it, take care of my family, be with my family, and not the whole bottom fall out of the business. So
right.
that balance, I mean, I play tennis 5 days a week. I'm in playoffs. So I start tonight. So, after we get off of this, I gotta get ready and
Yeah, no,
so
it's exciting. You
It
know,
is.
thing that you're doing, and that's why I always want to bring it in because, a lot of people always like hit, we're not afraid of working hard. In the beginning, absolutely, right? Was it always like this? It wasn't. And you start getting better and, even for me, a lot more efficient. And so,
There's
again,
systems.
and the
There's
cool thing is
systems.
now, Cynthia's speaking all around the country at other RIAs. She's going to be on the RIA Now call with national RIAs. She's like a hot mama, like that. Everyone wants to grab her. So I'm so happy that I guilted you first and have you
You
come
grab me
down.
first.
So meaning like, you guys, because, a lot of our members and, Alexa and I have been getting emails like, hey, when are you going to have someone with multifamily? Some of you guys have seen, we've had Anthony Chara before, who's fantastic, but he's doing bigger stuff, right? So it's an and world, not a competition world. I just want you guys to know that if you've seen Anthony Chara, again, we, definitely love him also, and he's been around. It's just a different, view on multifamily houses. So I think that's one of the things out there that's just different. Is number one. It's a lot. It's really fun. I do like when Cynthia teaches. It's always interactive and fun. And I think it's really important because you always leave with actionable items. Right. So I always tell people either you're all in or you're all out if you've been thinking about multifamily. And what I like about your story was you went from zero real estate experience to multifamily,
Yeah.
and you had mentors. So I know what's really important when it comes to that because a lot of people in my world they're said, hey, I want to be a real estate investor, so let me get my realtor license first. And then I always ask them, do you want to be a realtor or an investor? So learning to be a realtor is not an investor. And some of you guys, I have friends that have been realtors 20, 30 years, and they have no idea how to underwrite, and investment property. And that makes a big difference when it comes out there. So you need someone to guide you, right? You're going to pay for it one way or another. One of the things for me is the most important thing now is time, right? So if I could speed it up and take advantage of someone else's mistakes from what they've learned, I'm going to go ahead and do it. Some of you
But
guys
Anish, isn't
also,
that why, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt,
yeah,
isn't that why we have mentors?
yeah,
We have masterminds because and we spend a
yeah,
lot of money on our own education to better
yeah,
ourselves so we can speed up our knowledge and stay on top of things. And I think it's
100%.
so important as we move forward. And I was going to ask you, the people that are on this call, I hope I get to meet everybody here next Wednesday. I hope everybody's going to be at this next Wednesday. But there's a reason we're on these calls. There's a reason because it's like I talk about that gut feeling that says I'm destined for more. I want more. I just
Yeah.
don't know what that vehicle is to get there. I mean, would you agree that that's why
I,
people
I
are
agree with you.
searching?
And it's
Right.
funny because, and I know we were talking about a lot about Marshall Silver. Again, we're both in the inner circle, and that's how I met Cynthia. One of the questions he always asks is, what do you want?
Yeah.
And I remember that first time he said that, I was like, what do you mean?
Like, I want to be able to pay my rent. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, it's just like I wasn't living a bigger life. And that was the key word was and versus or. I thought if I did this, I'd have to give up this. I don't know why that's how I always operated. That it was like
A
a
lot of
take,
us think that way.
yeah, like if I do this, then I don't have time with my family. If I don't do this, it just didn't work. And as silly as it sounds, I told him to be in his inner circle. I learned the word and. I can be healthy, right? I can be a money making magnet. One of the things my you guys have been on some of my webinars or in person. One of the things I tell people I make money joyfully. I never used to use the word joyfully. And what a difference that one word made was okay, now I work with people and it's amazing how that those are the people that show up in my life now is, something that's joyfully where it's always a win-win versus, and the other thing for me, I'm competitive. I know you, obviously you're competitive. You play tennis and all that other good stuff. And I always say like, well, if she could do it, why can't I do it? You know, like what's different about her versus me and why, right? And instead of complaining about it, just go out and do it, right? It's
Go out
about
and do it.
taking action out there.
My
So I think,
my son, my sweet son Jacob, and he was talking to me. He'd gone on a mission trip and he came back and he's 21 now. And one of the things he said to me was just like, Mom, I see now that you raised us by yourself and you did it. And you did it all by yourself. He goes, I don't know if there's other moms that would do and be able to do what you did for us with all the health problems that we had and hospital visits and bills and still, and he's just like, I just don't know how you did it. My first thing was like, well, I didn't know how to choice. I didn't know I could
yeah,
leave. If I'd known I had a choice, I don't know, maybe, but
yeah,
I told him, I said, the only way I did it is because you wake up every morning and you do it. And he's just talking about the now he wants to get into real estate, but it's the same thing with that mindset. He's just like, you went from this church job to doing this. He's like, how'd you do it? I'm like, I just made up my mind to do it. It's just grit. It's just grit and not letting the fear hold you back because your brain wants to. Your brain just wants you to be comfortable and safe.
yeah,
So it's going to tell you it's the most ridiculous idea, and you just have to fight through that. And I guess maybe I'm stubborn enough. I don't know, but that's why I tell my kids with hard work, you can do anything you want. And while you're in it, I wouldn't say it's hard, but it's the steps you have to take to achieve the goal. And that means instead of getting on your phone at night, you go
yeah,
look up a property and underwrite. Instead of going to the thing on the weekend, you stay home and you underwrite, or you put an offer in and you start putting things on your calendar that move your goal ahead instead of making excuses on why you can't. So, I
yeah.
mean,
I
there's no
and
difference
you would,
between anybody and me.
yeah, and you know what's funny? Like you said, and I'll touch on this. I know Carl, Sheila, I did an event, in-person event last Saturday. And we literally had 25, 20, I don't know, somewhere around there, people registered at Nova University, and only three people showed up,
Mhm.
right? And the crazy part for me was, you know, people registered, they want to say they changed their lives, and I'm eating the cost, and you still don't show up, right? So the funny part was, I went off script, of course. You know, maybe I'm like unanimate. So I was teaching, and I got to really, with the other people, really dial in on what they need and the amount of great information they got. And again, Carl Shilley, being part of our organization, is a wealth of knowledge on the construction and everything that he's doing. I know a lot of you guys might know him, and if not, you make sure you come Wednesday.
Yeah.
As our longest standing member, it's amazing to watch how much has changed for him in the last 3 to 5 years. Just the confidence, the action, and he's got every excuse. Like, I'm not really great with technology. And so what, right? So it's, Cindy's better, but his wife's better at that. Or he's got someone else to lean on, and it makes no difference. So that's some of the things that, people ask me what I do. I always tell everyone I'm in the transformation business through real estate. That's what I feel. And so we're literally changing lives. One of the, my sister's a teacher, and God bless her heart, she doesn't make much money. And I don't know if you guys have siblings, but out there, sometimes you don't agree all the time. It's an understatement, right? And she's like, "Well, you're not sure about helping out people." And I said, "Well, imagine you made $100 million. Imagine how many people you could help, right? You could still have passion projects. You could still have nonprofits that still make money and change lives." So it's not a pure capitalist world of the way what you think. One of the things for me was as a middle class kid in Jersey, I didn't realize until I was older I had a bad conversation with money. Meaning, people worth money were XYZ person. Again, my parents didn't say it. Somehow it was fed in, and oh, if they have money, they're greedy. If they have money, they have no soul. Well, I don't know, whatever it is, right? And what you find as you grow, there'll be different things that will just reinforce that. So I had to really work on to break through that mentality and that identity shift. I know you were talking about that earlier. So what kind of identity shifts would you say you've made in the last couple of years? I know Because right now you're moving, you're driving, like maybe in the slow lane. Now you're like a race car driving Formula One.
Fast lane.
It's an understatement. So what would you say would be some of the limiting beliefs or things that, yeah, you've recognized and have you gotten through it?
That money one is huge for me too, Anish. Because I grew up, my parents, they were farmers. They grew up very poor, and
Yeah,
we've always grown up in the church. And I think there is that, a- and I don't know if the parents use the church as just an excuse to cover their poverty,
yeah,
um, like the root of all evil is, we start quoting scripture about, but burying
yeah,
our talons and all these things. And I'm like, but we were taught that you're middle class, stay middle class, don't rock the boat, go work for somebody, don't ask for too much, and
yeah,
never ask for a raise because you don't want to having a job's better than no job. And learning that just don't rock the boat. Don't ask too many questions because money, that's for those people. Like you
yeah,
said, it's for greedy people. It's a whole different mind. I still have to fight that because that, like Sister, Mother Teresa, that poverty is best. We truly
yeah,
show our love for God when we're just poor. And I'm not sure that that was God's will. I'm sure it
yeah,
wasn't God's will because with money, we can give back, we can serve. And I find in the career I'm in now, I get to serve just as much with people I meet, with people I coach, with lives I get to change, with raising people up out of a place where they say they can't do it to their rock stars, to
yeah,
putting tenants in properties, tenants that never thought they could live in an apartment that was clean and bug free and you know people that
yeah,
supported them and have a working washer and dryer. And because a lot of the properties we have are B and C, they're blue collar workers, and we've walked into places where it's like you don't have to live like this,
yeah.
not in our place. And we want to provide that. So there's so many great ways to serve in this business.
Absolutely. How many of you guys feel have the same conversations about money equal to Cynthia and I? Just put in the chat if that hits you at home, right? Like it's something that you're, man, I just don't have a good conversation with money. So, like as I said, these are just simple things or health, and I've shared this story many times. My mom passed away about 7 years ago, and one of the things that even my dad, still he'll call me, and he says the first thing he always says is, "Hey, I know you're busy. Can I XYZ?" Right? So for years, I trained them that I was always too busy. Right? So now I say, Dad, I'm never too busy for you. What do you need? And, over the years, luckily, this business has allowed me to spend more time with my family. Cynthia met my dad on the cruise. Gosh, for all, if you guys follow me on social media, you've probably seen some videos of the old man dancing,
Dancing with him. He's so great.
dancing until, he's 86 years old and it's 2 o'clock in the morning. And, I asked him, Dad, are you tired? And he goes, No, are you tired? I was like, oh. So those things are always equally important, right? So we want you to make money and live the life that you deserve. I think that's always important to have. That's what I meant about balance. So you don't have to have that sacrifice. Unfortunately, yeah. And again, I'm sorry to hear about your brother-in-law. And it was sudden, like we're not, like it just showed up when you don't know, and then you don't want to be later as you get older. You'll be like, I should have done this. I could have done this. And for me, the way I live now is no regrets. And a lot of times, I'm just telling you from experience, what you'll see is I kind of mentioned it today was I invested a lot of money in something and it's going to go belly up, right? And sometimes you get kicked, you know. I was going to say someone else kicked where, but and then the point is, how do you get past that? How do you reframe it where, okay, it's okay to feel sorry for yourself, right? So you guys know my story, losing everything in 2008 and file bankruptcy. And some of you guys are older, you've been through it. How do you move forward from that? right? You could either quit. I could have easily went back to W-2, said I tried it. I think I'm like you, or I know I'm like you. I'm too stubborn.
Right, right.
So
And
meaning like you got to
you
do
know
it.
there's something more. You
Right?
know there's a better way. There's an easier way. There's a better way. There's when I got into multifamily, the first thing I was able to do, and those early years, we could have been more aggressive and bought more properties, but I
Yeah.
was able to stay home with my kids. I was
Yeah.
able to drive them to school and be the volunteer mom and, you know, play tennis every day. It was really after working so hard for so long in the church, it was
Yeah.
so nice to just have that reprieve. And it just showed me that there was another way of life. And I think that's that tug in all of us that you don't have to go work 8 to 5 and just give time for money at a job. There are other ways, but what are you willing to do to get it?
Yeah. And you know what's interesting about what you do on the multifamily end of it, right? On the single family side, you got one of the panels I was on, and they said, I don't like what actually it was Anthony who said this. I was on a panel with him, and he goes, I don't want to do what Anish does. Every month he has to like, hunt, kill, and eat. I just rather buy a building and
Right.
do the rehabs all in one spot, right? And so that was kind of funny, meaning you're not buying 10, 20, 30 deals a year in, like, so what, buying one or two can change
One or two, it's a
or
high
three.
success, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you're in Cynthia's program, she shows you and helps partner with you all the way through, right? So that's why I think it's important. You guys definitely come Wednesday. You got to come. That's Wednesday evening. I don't want to hear about the South Florida traffic. It's not going anywhere. It's still traffic. And then obviously April 11th on the Saturday is a full day event. I'm even going to feed you guys. I have Cynthia flying back again. So don't disappoint and
Don't
let
leave me
someone,
hanging.
yeah, it's only me and you hanging out,
Ooh.
which will be great anyway,
And
though.
that day is going to be, I mean, I've got that day pretty much, but oh my gosh, we're going to have so much fun.
Yeah,
Because
I'm
like you
super
said, I'm
excited.
so interactive. I am not the class that you're going to come to and sit on the back row and just take notes and be on your phone and computer looking at your emails. You come to my class, we're going to have some fun. We're going to learn. And yeah, I'm gonna put you in a few uncomfortable little places. And yeah, I'm
Yeah,
going to teach you. It's going to be so much fun. We're going to have such a
yeah,
good
it's
time.
gonna be really awesome. We're almost at, can you believe again, we're almost out of
Oh
time?
my gosh, we are. But we want to keep going. We're just getting started.
I love, yeah, and I always love these fireside chats, especially with like amazing people like Cynthia, is that again, we like nothing is literally scripted. The
Yeah.
reason we do this is I'm fortunate of having, knowing someone like Cynthia, whether it's Avery, some amazing guests, and this is how we chat all the time. We're like,
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
what about this? And the idea of the fireside chats are so now you get to listen in on what these conversations are, right? You could ask whatever questions, whatever you need out there. The other thing is there's some of you guys that have friends or partners that could not be on the call today, right? So make sure you invite them. The room is pretty small, so we only have limited seats because it's in person, guys. So you owe it to yourself to be at the events, and then and then I'm gonna be the parent and say, uh, you better come. And I'll tell you why, because you guys keep saying that, Alexa and I always hear it all the time. Like, I wish you guys would do more in-person events. So I don't mind doing the in-person events. There is a cost for the events. Nothing's free at the events, unless I do a little 2-day workshop, a 2-hour workshop. I'll eat those costs. And this is a full day. And I think you're the first person we've ever had that does multifamily in a different way. That's going to talk about joint ventures and partnerships,
Yeah.
right? And this
There's,
is not house hacking, the 1 to 4 units. And the answer is yes to
no.
all this, just so you guys know. There's no right or wrong way. I just see as the market's changing, like the secondary, tertiary, where everyone, they want the place in Miami, the multifamily, or in Dallas, right? In these premier cities, and they're not making money
No.
the same way, right? Like they're just not cash
The
flowing.
returns are going to be so
I,
low.
I know like what's really important, what Cynthia really teaches is it's about cash flow. You got to start making cash flow. What does that look right away? Not that I hope prices go up.
Cash flow on day
It's
one.
yeah, it's a different risk. We have not even talked about any of this, but you know, Cynthia knows how to do seller financing, creative financing ways to get deals done also. So it's like we got a lot of stuff going on. And then, you know, of course, you know, Cynthia just got back from California. Like you're
Oh,
on,
that's
girl, you're on
nice.
the move.
Shoot.
That's so funny on it. And Alexa, I know someone actually got paid
Yes.
uh to to actually be on here.
Absolutely. So, Manny, the link is in the chat. Um, and I'll just pop it in one more time for you. But it's on
Okay.
our website, you guys. Go to events, bpmria.com, page 2. You'll see April 11th listed there. It'll give you an opportunity to see our awesome
All right,
new.
I'm gonna sweeten this just because it's
Uh-oh.
Friday.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
So
Okay.
what
Sweeten
so
her. Extra
and
marshmallow
what, so
today.
you guys know, you know, we have Marshall Silver coming down for the Turning Point the 14th, 15th, and 16th. His tickets are usually over a couple $1,000 a pop. We're selling those tickets too for 497.
Yeah,
What I'm gonna do is when you sign up for Saturday's event for Cynthia, I'm gonna throw them in.
oh my gosh, Nick.
So
Wow.
basically, and shh, don't tell anyone else. That's for you guys being on the webinar. And for me, you guys all know I'm all about taking action. So you got to sign up today. There's no, I'm gonna think about it, right? All the above. This is
Rich.
the exact
Do it.
same scenario. Cynthia making that call to that seller.
Yep. Take action.
Yeah, you got to go out there. So it's, you know, it's Friday. I feel pretty good on that. The Yankees won yesterday, so I'm like, I feel pretty good
Wow.
about that. I've been watching the NCAA tournament. Who knows? On
Oh, just lost last night.
and so Cynthia, you always laugh. I know you know me well enough. Poor Alexa. Sometimes I wonder. She goes, I'm always off script. It depends how I feel. I'm a guy that like my teams win as a sports fan. My teams win, you get the house. When they don't win, everybody's paying.
I'm glad they won last night. Phew. This could have gone way different today.
It'd been double the money. He's like, oh shoot, like you could literally figure out what's happening in our world by depending on what I say on prices.
Nish and his baseball.
Baseball, football, you know, I got to cheer about something, guys. You know, so yeah, what we'll do is absolutely, I'll give you two tickets for April 14th to the 16th. The only thing there's one thing that we are adamant about it because you are literally taking seats from somebody else. So the room only holds about 100 people. I don't know how many tickets we have left. We've been moving pretty quick when it comes to that. The deal is like you got to show up for the 2.5 days.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you think you can only make it in the morning, I'd rather you not, you know, you could take the tickets, give them to someone that can show up for the 2.5 days. And this is not real estate focused, guys. Although there'll be a lot of real estate people, it is not real estate focused. So it might be a spouse. It might be, they're great doing financially, and their personal life is broken, or their health's broken, or both, all the above. So we had Marshall come down in October. Otherwise, you'd have to fly out to California for the 2.5 day event, and that would be a little bit more expensive, maybe a little bit more inconvenient. So yeah, we'll just throw that in. So go ahead and pop it in. I know. Alexa put the link in there, so you got to sign up today. Get those two free tickets to Turning Point also. And by the way, Cynthia's actually going to be staying. So not only she's, you know,
Nice.
Saturday, she's going to be at the Turning Point also.
I wouldn't miss Turning
So
Point.
so I mean,
Cynthia,
you might get some extra time. And I think it's funny what you were talking about is this business is all about relationship building. Imagine being in a room where people are having breakthroughs at the same time. It's an unbelievable bond, and and really that's how you and I met, and Emily
We met.
is we were
Absolutely.
going through the same journey of breakthroughs.
yeah,
All
so
right,
cool.
Alexa, who's the lucky
Okay,
person that got
our winner
paid?
For the 1 year membership, $295 value, you not only get a free ticket to the April 1st networking event, but you get a discounted ticket for the April 11th workshop. Is Manny B.
Annie B, let's go.
Congratulations. And thank you to everyone else who entered. You guys know we're going to have more opportunities, more chances. Anish is doing another webinar on Tuesday before the Wednesday networking. So we're going to have a little fun time on Tuesday. It'll be interesting.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I always love Cynthia. I always love my camera when I see Alexa. She looks like the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, with her sitting in the ground.
Where's my torch?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Alexa,
great.
you are always our princess. So
Right.
Oh my
That's right.
gosh. Oh my goodness. So
Alexa, thank you for everything today. And Anish, thank you for
yeah.
having me here. It's always so much fun. And thanks to everybody who's here today. I cannot wait to meet you face to face next week.
Yep, absolutely. Any last words you want to, Cynthia? Anything else that you want to add besides you better come see me?
You better come see me. No. Follow that gut feeling that says that you are destined for more because you are. And you need a mentor. You need a coach. I'm your girl.
That's
This
it.
is your guy.
Yep. The mother of multifamily, as they call her. So
Mother of multifamily. That's right.
thank you,
I will see everybody
Cynthia.
next week.
Yep. Thank you, Cynthia. Thanks, Alexa. I'll see you
thank you
guys.
guys.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody.
Sorry, gonna bother you guys one more time. Give
No,
us
go, go.
5-star Google review,
Yes.
please.
Yeah,
And
and
also we recorded today, so make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Give this a thumbs up, share it with somebody who maybe missed it, your business partner, friends, whoever, because I know a lot of people are interested in multifamily. It's been a hot topic in this community.
yeah, make sure when you guys give that 5-star Google review, I would say put something that you learned from Cynthia today on the
Yeah.
web. That would be great. So that way, and you guys know that are doing research, we do have real 5-star Google reviews. These are all real reviews because we always ask. And lastly, if there's any other topics that you guys are really interested in the coming months, let me know and let's see if I could have a guest also. So have a great weekend. I will see you guys actually Tuesday's webinar. I'll see you Wednesday in person. And then the following week, we got some other stuff going on. I know, I know Alexa's got me working to death right now, and this is not fun. No, I'm kidding. This is very fun for me, so I love it. This is not work.
At least you're not having a baby, so
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
safe travels, Cynthia. We love you. Thank you so much for your time. We can't wait to have you down here.
I can't wait to
And
be there
thank you
next
so
week.
much, Anish, for again finding Cynthia. You guys are awesome. So
Yeah.
we'll
All
see you
right.
guys next time. Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.